Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Target Focus Life and our very first Caesar Guerini review. Today, we have the Caesar Guerini Summit. Oh, hey, thank you.
Yeah, man,
And
here for you.
And we got a special guest. Since I've never shot a Guerini before, I got a guy that's shot a few rounds. Travis Mears.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
World champion, national champion. I don't know, you're a champion sporting clay shooter, and this gun's all about sporting clays, right?
That's right, it is.
So we're gonna dive into this review and show you what it's all about. You ready? Let's go!
Dead pair, not bad.
It's like that. This is Travis Mears, my buddy. We're down here at his place, Clay Sport Ranch in Fort Worth area. You shoot sporting clays at a professional level. You have several national titles.
Yes, sir.
Lots of credentials to go with it. And you shoot a Caesar Guerini, correct?
I do. I shoot the Caesar Guerini Invictus 3.
Invictus 3. Now that's a little bit higher end shotgun, right?
It is. It's just the next model up is the Invictus series.
Okay. It goes all the way to like Invictus 9, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Which I think you did a review on already.
I have, yeah, and that was on Shotgun Passion with Travis Mears.
His YouTube channel.
That's right, little plug there.
The Caesar Guerini Summit for clay sports, right?
It's a clay target gun.
Specifically like skeet and sporting clays.
This is a great sporting clays model right here, flat rib.
Would you shoot it for trap?
Absolutely. I'm a guy that likes one gun for everything, so yeah, I think there are other options as far as the configuration, but this is the sporting model here with the flat rib.
If you could hold that for a second.
Yeah,
sometimes I like to start videos by seeing what the manufacturer has to say. Then we put it to the test
All right.
in the video. And I'm not going to give them a hard time because I know the marketing department has to put something. And it's usually, if it's a semi-auto, it's the fastest, most reliable, lightest recoiling. You know, every manufacturer says that. But here's what Caesar Guerini says. The Summit Sporting is an efficient tool designed to accomplish only one task: breaking targets. Every feature is carefully conceived and executed. The receiver is designed to withstand a lifetime of competitive shooting. So I think that's what we put to the test today. A lifetime
I
of
think I
competitive.
can summarize that though.
Okay.
Workhorse.
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 So if you were in the marketing department, you just put one word.
Just workhorse. That's all you need to say. And that's what the Summit is to me.
How do we test if it's going to withstand a lifetime? Like, can you get a few pallets out here for us?
Well, it might take a while, but I guess if we stood here and Jordan wanted to edit that much, we could do it.
I think what comes to my mind when I hear Caesar Guerini is I hear expensive. I hear $20,000+ shotguns, right? Which
there are some of those.
They do have some. But this gun actually starts at $47.95 MSRP. This is their most reasonably priced over-under shotgun, correct?
It is, and it's the most popular model. This is a great gun that'll last you a lifetime, but it's at an affordable number.
Now, before we started filming, you mentioned that you actually have a buddy that shoots one of these, and you said how many
That's right,
rounds?
yeah. I saw him at the National Championship this year, and he goes, hey, I think Caesar Guerini needs to put my gun on the wall. And I said, what do you mean? You know, they got plenty of guns on the wall. He said, well, mine's got over 1 million rounds in it. Wow. It was one of the early Summits. Okay, Caesar Guerini's 20 years old, and it was one of the early Summits, and he's still shooting it to this day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it still works great for him. So,
well, we're going to break this down a little bit later, and I'd like to take a look inside. There's like what goes into making a gun last that long? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first we got to get to the specs. This is a 12-gauge shotgun, but it's also available in 20, 28, and 410.
That's right.
32-inch barrels on this one, we decided.
That's right.
Right? Also available in 30 and 34-inch barrels. Right. Now, when you shoot sporting clays, you said you shoot a 34?
Yeah, historically I've always shot 32. Currently I shoot a 34 M spec. And really, you know, that's just personal preference. The Summit comes in multiple engraving patterns, and so this particular model can be upgraded into the Magnus or the Maxim, and all those is the same guts, okay? Maybe upgraded wood and definitely upgraded receiver as far as engraving goes. And the Invictus is the same way, okay? The guts are the same, but as you go up in series, the engraving gets more extravagant, and the stock detail also.
This comes out of the box at 14 3/4 inches, which is pretty close for me. Maybe a hair on the short side, but I can shoot that pretty well. But I suppose a person could put some spaces in there, get an aftermarket pad and extend it. Now, as far as the drop, it is 1.5 inches at comb and 2 1/4, so we have 3/4 inch drop. But as you guys can see, it is an adjustable comb, so you can really customize that.
And this gun comes with non-adjustable comb as well.
Yeah, you pay a little bit more for the adjustable comb version. This is a right-handed gun. They also make left-handed options.
The stock's got a palm swell on here, which palm swell is extremely important to a competitive shooter because it takes a lot of recoil out. Also helps us hold and control the gun a little better. So when you go into a left-handed stock, obviously the palm swell is going to switch to the other side, but also the cast of the stock. Okay, this has got cast off for a right-handed shooter, and if I was shooting it the other way, I would order the left-handed gun, which would be the opposite.
One thing I really appreciate about Caesar Guerini's website, when you start to look at the specs of these, not only do they give you the standard dimensions of length of pull, drop along the comb, but they also give you the cast dimensions, the cast at the heel and the cast at the toe. And there is some difference there. This is a little bit toe out. It's cast off, but also toe out. Kind of kicks that toe out away from your pectoral a little bit.
Right.
Which I'm excited to shoot this thing. I can't wait.
Those minor details like that make a tremendous difference in the recoil, and the felt recoil, especially over a 4-day championship. That recoil starts to really matter to you.
Yeah, that palm swell. I can't say enough about if you can get into a gun and get full hand contact on the grip and be comfortable coming into the trigger, like that feels pretty darn good to me.
Right.
Some guns, you can't get full contact and reach the trigger right. And by the way, this does have an adjustable trigger. We'll talk about that in just a minute here. But speaking of recoil, you mentioned handling recoil. Weight is part of the equation too.
It is.
You don't want a sporting clay gun that's too light. This is coming in at about 8 pounds, 5 ounces.
Right.
That's a pretty good spot, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously that can go up or down a few ounces based on density of wood and whether you go with a 30-inch barrel or a 32.
Right.
Most of them are going to land right in that 8.5.
Now, trigger is another thing that I think is important, and I imagine you're going to say the same thing.
In shotgun sports, we slap the trigger so much, it's not near as important as if I was shooting a precision rifle or something like that. What we really want to pay attention to is when the brain says go, okay, we want the gun to fire as quickly as we can,
Yep.
because we're shooting at a moving object in the air. And so, the more pull you have, the longer it's going to take for the shot to exit the barrel, right?
Now, are these mechanical or inertia?
This is inertia, so you're going to have to open it up.
213.9, sub 3 pounds.
Right.
I mean, that's extremely light.
It's
at some point, you can get too light, can't you?
Well, I don't think so. As long as it's safe, right?
Yeah, it feels awesome.
It's crisp.
I love the feel of that.
Definitely different than the gas guns that we're usually operating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great feeling trigger. The ergonomics, the fit, the function, the form. Great feeling trigger. We just hit on that. But it's also adjustable, right?
Right. Depending on the length of your finger, you're going to be able to adjust that trigger either all the way out, okay, so where you got to reach for it a little bit more, or if you got short fingers, we can pull it all the way to the back where it's a short reach. I think it looks perfect for you, and typically out of the box, that's what it's going to come for is an average guy.
Average guy. Here I am. Steve, the average guy. Now, when you shoot, you want that trigger on your first pad, don't you?
Yeah, I actually have a little callus right there, right in the middle of my pad, so
yeah,
apparently that's where it hits.
Yeah. When you feel this trigger, now this is set up for a right-handed shooter, it's slightly curved, right? I love the feel of that. Adjustable trigger. This is the DTS trigger system, and it's also available, I think, in a single or double release triggers. Do you shoot a release?
No, I don't. Maybe someday.
You know a lot of guys that do?
It's
pretty common?
A lot of high volume guys have to eventually go to it, but I'm not there yet.
Okay. As far as the look of this gun, it is a beautiful gun. Pretty nice wood. Do you happen to know what grade this is?
No, I don't, but all the Caesar Guerinis are going to come with an oil finish, which is awesome for, guys like me that are putting this thing to the test every day. If I nick it or a shell flies out on auto and hits the stock or whatever, they're very easy to repair. At any point in the life of the gun, you could send it back and have a new finish on it, and it'll take that gun to new specs.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. The oil finish really is reliable for a long-time gun.
Now, what's the warranty on a gun like this? It says it's going to last a lifetime, but say you were to have issues, what does that look like? Do you have any experience with sending things back to Caesar Guerini and how they take care of stuff?
Caesar Guerinis have a lifetime warranty. And they stand behind that. I've been incredibly impressed, not only as a professional shooter for Caesar Guerini, but also as a dealer. We sell a lot of Caesar Guerinis, and we also sell a lot of other brands, okay? So when we have an issue or we want to make an adjustment to a trigger or we want to send the gun back for a pit stop, typically what I tell my clients is we're going to send this gun back. It's going to be back in 10 to 14 days.
Wow.
It's all service in Cambridge, Maryland, and they've got incredible gunsmiths there. Caesar Guerini's going to call you when they get the gun. They're going to tell you what they're going to do or ask you questions about what you want done, and the turnaround is incredibly fast. And that lifetime warranty also includes what's called the pit stop program. And the pit stop program is where you can send this gun back for what we call an annual or yearly, and they'll go through the gun and they'll take it all back to new specs. So for example, this gun new out of the box is, obviously a little stiff, okay? You go through and you shoot, 50,000 rounds through it, and you open it up, and just like any over and under, it's going to flop open, right? Mm-hmm. We send this back for a pit stop program, and they're going to bring that back to new specs. They're going to change out any of the firing pin springs or whatever else might need to be done just to bring it back to that out-of-the-box feel. And that's a free service offered by Caesar Guerini for the lifetime of the gun.
That's really cool, and that's not something I knew. I did talk to someone at Caesar Guerini, and they said that this pit stop program, often at the big shoots and the different things,
right,
they have representatives there that can then do that
They
stuff.
are. They're easy to access, okay? So you can ship the gun back to Cambridge, Maryland, or you go to the U.S. Open, the Nationals, here at the Regionals next year, and there'll be gunsmiths there. And that's really the easiest, fastest way to get the gun serviced if you ever need to or want to.
I love the checkering on this, 26 lines per inch. Forend feels great. The receiver, some really nice scroll engraving. Like, I can definitely tell this is not your $1,200 shotgun.
Right.
Just in the detail, how it's done. Top tang has some nice scroll on it.
Steve, like we were saying earlier, this is a workhorse, okay? You can put this to the grind, but also in a gun rack at the gun range, it's going to be one that catches eyes. You've got the silver receiver, the blued barrel, and then also the oil finish stock. It's an eye catcher, but it's also a gun that's going to be, you can put it to the grind and break targets for a long time with.
It does have a silver mid bead, a white front bead. Comes with 6 different extended chokes. The Maxxis choke, there's 2 in the gun, 4 in the case. Caesar Guerini actually makes their own chokes.
They do, and they're really impressive as far as going to the pattern board. The chokes are actually made of the same metal consistency as the barrels, and so as the shot is leaving the barrel, the choke actually flexes the same level as the barrel, which creates some really impressive patterns on the pattern board.
Well, I've only shot a few rounds so far, and the few that I did shoot, when I did everything right, man, those
right, yeah, you hit them pretty
powder.
hard. You almost look like a target shooter.
I could almost shoot some targets periodically. Now, I do notice this rib, it's tapered. It's wider back here, it tapers. Vented rib. What's the idea behind being wider here and tapering?
It lets us be more precise because we have less taking up our field of view.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It makes a big difference shooting longer targets. Obviously, the short stuff doesn't take much lead, but when we have to start getting 6, 8, 10 foot in front of something,
right,
as precise as we can be is going to be to our benefit.
Recoil pad, just kind of a standard pad. If you need to adjust length of pull, you're probably going to need a different pad on there anyways.
It's not going to kick much. Plus, we're shooting target loads. We're not shooting the heavy field loads.
Right. Well, speaking of shooting, let's do some. I like to test recoil and reliability. I got some Federal, actually got game loads. Your Walmart down here didn't have Federal target loads.
It's all right.
I guess we're a little too far from Anoka, Minnesota, maybe?
A little bit, yeah. Only a whole country away.
They are 1-ounce, yeah. We're not in Canada. We're close, but we're not there. 3 1/4 dram equivalent, traveling at 1290.
1120. Good shooting.
I don't think the gun fits me 100% the way it's set up. I think with the drop, I need a little bit higher comb. I got real long distance from my shoulder pocket to my cheekbone.
Thin face, too.
Yeah, I don't have an average shaped head. Oh.
Dead pair. Pretty good shooting there, buddy.
Recoil is minimal. Even with these game loads, like if you're shooting 1-ounce target loads,
right,
very minimal. Now, I do got to say, if I was going to be shooting this gun all the time, I would probably put a Falcon Strike on there. Have you ever shot one of those?
No, I haven't. I've seen them, though.
They are actually really incredible. A lot of cool technology goes into it, but by itself, I mean, very low recoil.
Right.
I always look at recoil, though, as if there's anything I can do to reduce recoil, it only helps me.
Well, especially in the sporting clays world, when we're shooting hundreds of targets 4 or 5 days in a row. For example, the national championship shoot 300 targets a day for 5 days.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shooting, okay? And so managing recoil with your gun setup, managing recoil with your shell setup is extremely important in the longevity of the event.
Because that wears you over time, doesn't it?
For sure. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's going to eat that at you for sure.
Let's break this apart, and we'll talk about, usually when I do recoil, I also look at reliability. I can't say much to the reliability. It has ejectors. It ejected them.
Right.
It's reliable so far. But the true test is over time, and I often ask viewers if they have this gun and have shot it a lot of rounds to weigh on the TFL community, give us your feedback, what your thoughts are, how well it's held up. But you have some stories, and you shared your one buddy that shot over 1 million rounds, and it's held up through that.
Here at the range, we're at Defender Outdoors Clay Sports Ranch. We're a high volume range. We're open to the public, and we have a lot of new shooters come out all the time. So we've got a wide selection of rental guns. And one of the first guns we got was Caesar Guerini Summit, and that thing has been through the ringer. I've seen it fly off golf carts. I've seen it shot in the rain and the snow. Thousands and thousands of rounds, and when you talk about reliability, I think putting it in a non-shooter's hands for a length of time, for a minimal fee as far as a rental. How do you treat your rental cars?
Yeah.
Okay, well, can't say?
Can't say. Now, is there anything in this receiver that you would like to point out that helps lead to that longevity?
Everything is extremely precise machined. It's also extremely easy to maintain. So for me, I'm going to put a shot of grease here on the pivot points on both sides, wipe out any dust or grime. And other than that, these things are really easy to take care of. Same thing on this on the barrel. Okay, we're going to hit any points where the metal contact with a little bit of grease, wipe off any dust or grime, and put it back together. And that's what makes over and under really awesome, as they're easy to maintain.
Yeah, solid gun. We've been talking. I don't know if there's much more to talk about. I'm really excited about this. I think it's at a price point that a lot of people can afford, getting into a great solid gun. But I want to shoot it. I'm not going to lie. We're shooters. We want to shoot.
This is a competition gun, man. We should maybe have a competition.
Oh, a professional sporting clay versus a gun reviewer. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But hey, what the heck?
Hey, it's your channel. Texas. You make the rules.
One in Texas. Yeah, we also make the edits. So let's go to the sporting clay course and shoot.
Okay.
Oh.
There you go.
Hey, I felt pretty good.
Nothing better than puffing a few targets.
Yeah.
How'd the Summit perform? Feel pretty good?
It felt good. It's a little bit different fit than I'm used to.
Right.
I think with a few more shots, which I got more ammo.
Right.
I'd get feeling pretty good, but I think a true pair would be a little more fun.
Oh. There it is, right in the middle.
So now when you approach these targets, and it might change from station to station, but these type targets, are you doing a sustained lead? Are you pulling up in front of the bird, hitting your lead and pulling the trigger? Are you coming up to the bird and pulling ahead?
Well, normally what I would do in a competitive nature and when I'm coaching is it's kind of a combo between a sustain and a pull away. And so you kind of give your best guess on what the target takes, and you start with about 75% of what you think. Okay, so we're inserting the gun in front of the target. We've got to match the speed, match the line, and then slight separation at the time when we fire.
Okay.
So the separation is a commitment to the shot, and that's when we send it. That way we can maintain good visual focus on the target for the shot.
I like that. I might do that periodically, kind of intuitively.
Right.
I do find when I try sustained lead, if I just mount into the lead, especially the further out the targets get, the more I feel like I'm guessing.
Yeah, and what happens when we shoot a 100% sustained lead, and if it's not like on a skeet trap field where you know all the leads, what happens is our eyes start to evaluate, okay? So where's the barrel, where's the target, and we're looking at the two objects, okay, which takes our focus off of the moving bird we're trying to hit. And so if we can have that little separation at the end, it maintains visual focus on the target, which allows the gun to move freely.
Right, that makes sense.
Cool.
Do you always start pre-mounted?
I do. Well, I shouldn't say always, but 80% of the time I do.
True pair?
Cool.
You see,
right in the middle.
I hit both clays, but he made it look a heck of a lot easier.
It's all about where you start.
Yeah.
The right start gives you the right finish.
I think I can get better. After seeing that, I gotta try it one more time. I'm having fun. I'm really liking this gun. I think it's a great option for anyone that wants a really good quality gun to shoot clays with.
Out of the box, man, that thing shoots really, really smooth for me, and I've got a little bit different setup on my gun, and that one was low recoil, pointed well. That's all we can ask for, right?
Yeah. If I'm going to get an over-under, I want a gun that's going to last. That's important. You got to spend a little bit of money to do that, but almost more importantly to me, I want one that looks pretty decent.
Right.
Like an over-under that's just kind of a tank that has no visual appeal. But I might be a little superficial. I don't know.
I am for sure.
Pull.
There you go. That was smooth.
A little cleaner. Well, I could do this all day. We got to wrap up a review anyways. I've really enjoyed this first review of a Caesar Guerini. Hopefully it'll be one of many to come. Just a high-quality gun for clay targets. I don't have really any gripes about it. There's a lot to like here. From look to finish to the feel in the hands. I don't know what's your thoughts?
It's pretty and it's a workhorse. I think it's a great gun for any shooter, whether you're wanting your first really nice over and under, or if you're a competitive guy that's shot for years, the Caesar Guerini Summit's going to be a great option.
Well, very cool. Thanks for helping out
Yeah,
this
man.
review. Thanks for throwing birds for me. And
sure.
remember, guys, whether in the field or in life, you're all going to hit those shots you're laser focused on. So live
Target Focus Live.
See ya.